Well, much has been said about the proposed mosque near Ground Zero here in New York City, so we might as well say a bit more. Whatever side you come down on, the debate has become obviously toxic. One of the loudest voices on the mosque issue has been Glenn Beck over at Fox News. In today's Daily Rant, Young Turk Cenk Uygur has some thoughts about Mr. Beck's own rantings. Cenk.
Absolutely. Glenn has been part of the Fox News noise machine going after this so-called Ground Zero mosque. It's actually the Park 51 project. It's a community center. They're going to have a basketball court in it. I'm looking forward to that. But apparently Glenn isn't. He thinks it's outrageous. Let's check him out on Fox.
I'm a reasonable human being. I have no problem with a mosque. You want to build a church, a mosque, a synagogue, any place, that's fine. You want to build it and you want to open it on September 11th, you're a fool. You're insulting people, but we have no right to stop you. We can call you a fool, but there's something wrong here.
All right. Well, first of all, they're not opening it on 9/11, so that's totally and completely wrong. It's never stopped Glenn Beck before. But his general point here is this is a great insult to the 9/11 victims' families. It's, as he calls it, a slap in the face.
I think it's an extraordinarily bad taste. I think it's foolish. I think it's a slap in the face.
All right, slap in the face, very, very clear. Okay, now Glenn Beck standing up for the sensibilities and trying to protect the 9/11 victims' families as he always has. Or has he?
Let's take about a year to start hating the 9/11 victims' families. It took me about a year. And I had such compassion for them, and I really, I wanted to help them, and I was behind, let's give them money, let's get started, all of this stuff. And I really didn't, all the 3,000 victims' families, I don't hate all of them. I hate probably about 10 of them. But when I see, 9/11 victim family, on television or whatever, I'm just like, oh, shut up. I'm so sick of them because they're always complaining.
Wow, I'm so sick of them. I hate them. What would Glenn Beck call that?
I think it's an extraordinarily bad taste. I think it's foolish. I think it's a slap in the face.
Well, there you go. That's exactly what it is. No one has offended the 9/11 victims' families more than Glenn Beck has. And so, you know what? Ground Zero is hallowed ground. I'm sure conservatives would agree to have a man like this who says he hates the victims' families. Well, obviously, according to their own logic, Glenn Beck should be banned within a 2.5-block perimeter of Ground Zero. So I'm trying to start that movement. Dylan, I'm sure you'll join in on this. Any sensible person would. Let's ban Glenn Beck from anywhere near Ground Zero for what he said about 9/11 victims' families.
And what will be the enforcement mechanism, Cenk?
U.S. citizens. Now, nothing physical. Absolutely not. Okay, be very careful about that. But if you see Glenn Beck in that area, you just tell him, get. You rough talk him and run him off.
So what if you just, in general, when you see Glenn Beck, should you make that sound anyway? Whether he's near the Ground Zero mosque or not?
Well, I would prefer that it was near hallowed ground, so it made more sense. But you might not be able to help yourself if you run into Glenn Beck. You might make some strange sounds either way. So he certainly does.
Now, with all of that said, I just like the idea of making the sound whenever
Give it a shot.
I will.
If
I see him, I'll try it. He's just across the way. I'll try it. I'll have to. At the end of the day, though. At the end of the day, does he not have some point in the location? Not in the fear-mongering, not in the exploitation, not in the manipulation, not in the cashing in, not in the fragmentation, not in the division of America, not in the distraction from all of our real problems, not in the perpetuation of all these horrible things, but in the basic aspects of human sensitivity relative to the emotions of those families that he hates.
Right. No, he has absolutely no point. And I'll tell you why. It's because, first of all, this project had been going on for a long time. It was published in the New York Times. In fact, Laura Ingraham, one of the conservative commentators, was on Fox News praising the founders of this project, saying what a good idea it was, because its idea is to do outreach. On the board of Park 51 that's building this are Muslims, but also Christians and Jews. They're doing this together. It's the perfect symbolism. And the reason they're doing it there is not because they wanted to do it near Ground Zero. It's because that's where their community is. For them to build a mosque in Kansas doesn't make any sense. They don't live in Kansas. That's where they live and they work and they reside. That's their community. That's why you build the community center right there.
All right. So just want to be very clear, if you would, one more time before we wrap this up. If we see Glenn Beck near Ground Zero, what is the sound that we're supposed to make again? Because we're not.
All right, now say it with me, Dylan. Come on.
All right.
Okay.
Get like a pig farm. Is that right?
Very close.
Okay.
We got that originally from a mountain man in somewhere in Kentucky, I think it was.
Okay. All right. Listen, a fine rant as always. Cenk, we'll talk to you sooner rather than later. Cenk Uygur.